using it so much, and so I'm out of practice. Right, let me just see here. Okay. Let us see. All right, devotees. Well, we will dispense with having more kirtan because you already heard I was listening from upstairs and wow, that was amazing. Sure. Truly amazing and amazing, wonderful. But let us begin a seminar on Govardhan Lila. It is quite a big subject, and we wrote a book about it. Some of you may have seen the book. Some of you may have read the book. Did any of you see that book? Good, yeah. Okay. Yes. So it was a whole 400-page book or whatever, something like that, just on Govardhan Lila. So, to have a 3-day seminar, it's hard to do justice to Govardhan Hill. But anyway, we'll do what we can. Okay, baby. Hari Bol. Shri Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Hari Bol. Excuse us. Right. So, yes, let's have a look at the subject of Govardhan Lila. You know, I mean, like I said, there's so many things. There's the book with so many things in it. But let's start somewhere. Well, let's start with some. Well, let's just start. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestha Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachade Shatarane. Vanchikapaturibhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha. Patitano Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yes, right, so, where to start? Well, let me just start at this point that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, well, you're probably aware we do a seminar from time to time on the demons in Krishna's Vrindavan Leelas and the anathas they represent, which is quite a subject. I suppose we've done it here. Have we done it here?
Yeah, twice.
Twice. Third time lucky. But anyway, we are not, there's no electricity. We need electricity. There's an English, oh no. There's a
I've
European
got some
flag.
plugs in my cold a little bit.
A European
Yes,
flag.
I do. I bought it for you actually. I'll just pick it up.
Because, yeah, now it's on battery. Right, so anyway, we're not going to go through all the demons and all the anathas they represent, but I could just mention about this Govardhan Leela. In it, at least Lord Indra and his mentality and all of that represents the anatha of thinking that demigod worship is higher than worship of Krishna, or higher than being a devotee doing devotional service to Krishna. And I think you all know the background basically to this Govardhan Leela, and you know the basic story. Well, what happened was, well, let me just mention, before we get into any details of the pastime, let us just say that an important aspect of the whole thing is this, that Lord Krishna, he is very fond of the Govardhan Leela. It's just one of his most favorite pastimes. At least one of the most. But do you know why? Do you know why? Do you know why? So why is because in this Govardhan Leela, Lord Krishna interacts with all the devotees in all the different relationships, the different rasas, simultaneously. And this is very unusual, because normally Krishna in his pastimes, like he gets up early in the morning and then he goes out with, well, first of all he has breakfast. No, at the back. First of all he has breakfast, and then he goes out with his cowherd boyfriends mainly to herd the cows. Of course, he starts off by herding the calves, but then he sort of graduates up to, he starts off when he's 3, when he's just turned, it's actually on the Gopastami day, when he has just turned 3, that Krishna starts herding the calves, the baby cows. But then he graduates shortly after that to actually herding the cows. Right. So now herding the cows in general means, well, the cows are there. The cows are interesting devotees. Let us just say devotees. Srila Jiva Goswami says in his commentary on Brahma Samhita that the cows, Krishna's cows, descended from Goloka Vrindavan to give their mercy to the conditioned souls. So please let us not think that they're just cows, just, these sort of, you could say, dumb animals. They are great liberated devotees. eternal associates of Lord Sri Krishna. Yes, so the cows, Krishna herds the cows. And from herding the calves begins, as I said, from the Gopastami day, which is the second Astami in Kartik, as the moon is coming up towards full. And so he starts with the calves at that time. And at some point, maybe like when he's about 6-ish or 5-ish, I'm not aware of there being like a really specific time mentioned, although you never know, there may be somewhere. But he takes up herding the cows. But now, in this case, in this particular case, Lord Krishna is very fond of this pastime because, well, going out in the morning means with the cow. The cows are sort of Shanta ras mixed with Vatsalya rasa. Shanta ras because, they're very simple. They're animals. They're not that simple, frankly, but, on a certain level, they appear to be simple living beings. Many of them talk in Sanskrit. I don't know if any of us here can really talk in Sanskrit. Quote a few Bhagavad Gita verses and say, I can talk in Sanskrit. But actually converse in Sanskrit, that's another thing. Yes. But they're not, they speak Sanskrit like real Sanskrit, conversationally. And not even Hindi, which is sort of kitchen Sanskrit, reduced a few levels, Bhojpuri or whatever. Right. So yeah, Krishna's relationships with the cows, in a sort of on a functional level, he's more in, even it's not fair to say that, but there's neutrality and there is the parental relationship, because they're mothers. They're mothers, go mata. Yes, they're mothers. And they give milk. And Krishna's famous for, as Makhan Chor, stealing the butter, Dahi Chor sometimes, stealing the yogurt, like this. But the reason Krishna steals the butter, the yogurt, and whatever else, he steals all different sorts of dairy products. You know the reason. I must have explained it here sometime. The reason is that, the reason, first of all, is not that he just likes to eat butter. I mean, we all have our favorite prasadam, don't we? What's your favorite prasadam?
Dosa. Dosa?
Dosa. You are from a Tamil background. Sakyama. Okay. You speak it too. Okay. Yes, right. What's your favorite prasadam? Don't tell me. Gropwa. Shushu.
Yes.
Shushu.
Absolutely.
So, generally we have a particular type of prasadam, or maybe a few types, which we're very fond of. Because, basically because they taste nice. to us, our particular set of senses. You know, so I know I've asked this question to many children, and quite a number have said their favorite prasadam is dal and rice. And you might think, isn't that a bit plain? But actually, nice dal and rice is really nice. Rice is nice, yeah. So now, why is it that Krishna is particularly Makanchor? He's also Dakichor. But more than anything, he's Makanchor. Is not just because he likes eating butter, as opposed to, something else, samosas or pakoras or just some other preparation. Do you know any devotees who eat butter? Like by the quarter kilo at a time. Jagat Bandhu from Jamaica, black-skinned, Prabhupada disciple. He used to eat, he was with us on book distribution for some time in the 70s. And oftentimes he would take a quarter kilo of butter and just eat it. Hari Bol. It's an unusual taste in prasadam. Anyway, so why does Krishna like to eat the butter? Because, and this is very important, and as I describe it, I'm sure you'll get it. It's pretty straightforward when you think about it. It's because all the cows, because they are go mata, they're not just go, they're go mata, they're mothers. So, when they're milked, when they're eating the grass, because the quality of the grass defines the quality of the milk. If you've got good green grass, you get really excellent milk. So, yes, the thing is that the cows then, they're eating the grass, and all the day, you know what cows are like? They're either eating the grass, or they're lying down, and in English we call it chewing the cud. You know what I mean? Sort of re-chewing the grass, bringing it partially up and chewing it further. And that's what cows do all day. That's basically their program. Yes. So while they're doing that, they're aware, particularly those cows, they're aware that we are going to be milked shortly. And when we're milked, we want our milk to be the best. Why? Because they want their milk to be taken by Krishna, either just directly as milk or in some transformed state like butter or whatever, or yogurt or different things. So the cows, when they're milked, when they're being milked, they're just thinking, we want Krishna to get our milk. And they're just fully dedicated to that, because they're devotees. They're not dumb animals. They are real devotees. So they're milked by the ladies. And the ladies, as they're milking in Vrindavan, they're thinking, we want Krishna to get the milk and the milk products. And then they transform at least some of the milk into different things. Yeah, yogurt, that's not, it's a bit of an art to make good yogurt, but it's not that difficult to make good yogurt. But to make butter by hand, how many of you have made butter by hand? Oh, you have. Look at that. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I made butter by hand, and not with a power drill. We used to make it with a power drill. Just but, really make it by hand in the traditional way. And that's why those ladies in Vrindavan, in Krishna's pastimes, they're all strong ladies. They're pretty tough because it's real, like bodybuilding exercise to churn the yogurt into butter. Sure. Yeah. I couldn't manage it. We had to get some reinforcements to take over because I ran out of energy. But while they're churning, and of all the different things that they make from milk, like they make burfi, they make different sweets. And it takes to make burfi, to boil down not just this milk powder burfi, but to boil down the milk till it thickens, like rubbery. Are you familiar with rubbery? You're boiling it slowly and just taking the skin off the top and accumulating it. It takes a while, it takes a few hours, but it doesn't take as long, and it's not as demanding physically as making the butter, churning the yogurt into butter. But if you ladies want to grow up to be big, strong girls, churn yogurt into butter every day, I tell you what, you'll get good muscles. So the thing is this is the thing, that as they are doing that, and it takes the longest of all, making all the different things you can make from milk, churning the yogurt. Well, first of all, you've got to make yogurt to do it the traditional way. And then you've got to churn the yogurt into butter. Takes the longest time of any of those things, like making burfi or whatever it may be, making paneer. That's very straightforward. So as they are churning and churning and churning, the ladies are just thinking and thinking and thinking. We want Krishna to get this butter. They're just fully absorbed in that. And it's not that they're thinking it some of the time and then they're thinking of other things at some other time. They're just absorbed in that. And Krishna knows that, of course. Krishna is omniscient, so he knows that the greatest, whatever they're making, if they're making yogurt, if they're making burfi, if they're making sandesh, whatever they're making, that as they're making it, the ladies are thinking that they're making it for Krishna, but particularly to the butter, because it takes the longest and it takes the greatest endeavor. It's actually pretty hard work. So therefore, there you could say the greatest amount of their love goes into the butter. Plenty of their love goes into the yogurt. Therefore, Krishna also steals the yogurt. He's dahi chor also. And, quite a bit goes into the burfi and the sandesh and etc., etc. But the greatest amount goes into the butter. And Krishna, his interest in anything is how to experience the love which is within whatever it is, whether it's your service, whether you're cleaning the floor, or worshipping the deity, or cooking. Yeah, if you're Krishna conscious and you're really thinking that you're doing it for Krishna, Krishna is relishing that. Not so much. I mean, not that it doesn't matter how your dosa tastes, or your sambar, or your coconut chutney. Not that it doesn't matter, it could taste anyway, but it doesn't really matter. But the main thing is the love. He wants to taste the love. Krishna is a connoisseur of love. The ultimate connoisseur of love. You are, I guess, a connoisseur of dosa. And idli?
More dosa.
More dosa, me too. Yeah. And someone else is a connoisseur of something else, shushu and gros pois. And what's your favorite prasadam? Dosa. Really? You're Tamil. Okay, anyway, let's not get into it too much. Right, so Krishna is a connoisseur of love, and practically the greatest, well anyway, for the older gopis, the mothers and grandmothers, those generations, the greatest love of theirs goes into their cooking and particularly, ultimately, the butter. So Krishna feels, I have to get the butter because he wants to taste the maximum amount of their love. The younger gopis, it's a different relationship. The cowherd boys, it's a different relationship. But with the mothers, the older ladies and mothers and grandmothers and aunties and so on, the greatest experience of love in Krishna's relationship with them is found in the butter. But now, those ladies, they would love to just take the butter and just call Krishna, hey Krishna, come, here it is, just go for it. But of course they can't do that because their husbands are trading, different milk products actually, but particularly the butter. They're trading to get vegetables and cloth and whatever, just other things that the families need, because all they make is milk and milk products. That's all they make. They don't grow veggies, generally, the Brijbasis. So, but now, if Krishna eats all the butter, then how are they're going to run out of butter, because Krishna can eat kilos and kilos and many kilos. Yeah, he'll eat it all so he can get their love. So what to do about that? The husbands, if the wives give away all the butter to Krishna, then there'll be a sort of economic crisis in Vrindavan. There will be. And the husbands will be very angry with the wives for giving away their livelihood. So therefore, the wives cannot give it away. But the thing is, Krishna must have it. He has to have it. He's totally determined. And, you know, he understands sort of the family politics, husband and wife politics. I mean, that's always an interesting subject. So he understands what's going on. And so to avoid putting the ladies in trouble with their husbands and risking divorce, which in those days was unknown, completely unknown. You know, the British couldn't understand when they came to India that why there's so many laws, but there are no divorce laws in India. So what's wrong with these people? Well, the thing is that there was no need for divorce laws. Like they're not laws for a whole lot of things if you think about, you know, things that you could make laws for if you wanted to. But there were no divorce laws because nobody basically wanted to divorce. But you never know what might have happened if the ladies started giving away all the butter to Krishna. It could have been a real sociological crisis. So therefore, on one hand, to taste their love, which is extremely important, like the highest level of their love, and on the other hand, to save them from these family difficulties, Krishna stole it. He stole it. And so when the husbands came back in the evening and asked, where's the butter? The wives could say, you won't believe it. Krishna stole it again. Like, you know, what can I do? Not like, well, I gave it to him, but he came and stole it. So they are saved from difficulty. Yeah, with their husbands by Krishna stealing it. So there you go. Were you aware of that? It's an interesting point. That's why Krishna steals the butter. Because he wants to taste the love, but there's these family considerations, so he has to steal it. Other things he doesn't have to steal, and he gets them. But the butter, he has to steal it. So there you go, devotees. That's an interesting little tidbit of background information about Krishna and his pastimes. And Mother Yashoda, of course, you know, Mother Yashoda in the middle of all this, she was making butter for Krishna. She was actually making it for Krishna. I mean, I won't go into all the details, but every day she's making some kilos of butter and then just calling Krishna, Krishna, come, here, look, I made this butter here, take it. In terms of quality, like of a product of butter, it was just about the best. And all her love was in it. But Krishna wanted to taste, to reciprocate with the other ladies in the community by tasting their butter. So she would give him so much butter that she would think, now how's he going to eat all this butter? Like kilos of butter. And just tell him, look, go, just eat it. It's yours. Just eat it. And she'd go away to do something else for 5 or 10 minutes and come back and he was gone. Next door, stealing the butter. And so Mother Yashoda developed an inferiority complex about her butter. She thought it was not good enough. So she went to great lengths to make sure her butter was just the best of the best. But still, she'd leave Krishna with X kilos of butter and come back and he's gone and he's next door stealing it. So anyway, we were talking about the relationship. So Krishna has these relationships with the cows, that they're neutral and they're motherly. Then, so he goes out early in the morning, and then the cowherd boys, of course, that's all Sakya Ras. Although, there's a few cases. The main one is Balaram, who's in both Sakya Ras and Vatsalya Ras. He also has a parental attitude to some degree, or, depending on the circumstances, it may be aroused more than just his friendly relationship. But he's in between the two, friendship and parental, Balaram. And basically the other cowherd boys are in friendship, Sakya Ras. Yeah, it's an interesting subject. We could do a little seminar sometimes on the different rasas. As they're described by Prabhupada particularly and our acharyas. So anyway, so that's now, during the morning, into the afternoon, it's Sakya Ras, but with the cows also, so there's the relationship with the cows as we described it. And then they come back in the evenings or late afternoon, and then he associates with Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, and the other parental devotees. And then, after that, after dinner, Mother Yashoda puts Krishna to bed, and maybe she sings some little lullabies to him. Back in the old days in Berry Place in London, sometimes the ladies from the temple would sing little songs to Radha Landaneshwara to kind of, like calming songs, very peaceful and pleasant songs. Yeah, lullabies to put them to sleep. So after dinner, Mother Yashoda puts Krishna to bed, and then as soon as she walks out, you know what happens? You know what happens. He's out the window. Krishna's out the window going for rasa dancing. And that's the whole night. That's the whole night in rasa dancing. Then he comes back, kind of like Mangal Arati time, that sort of time. He comes back and climbs back through the window and collapses because Krishna becomes transcendentally tired. In one sense he doesn't, but in another sense he does. He becomes transcendentally tired. And he just collapses in his bed. But the problem is, 5 minutes later, or even 2 or 3 minutes later, Mother Yashoda comes in. Time to rise! Time to get up! And Krishna just sort of grunts something, and rolls over. And she thinks, he was herding the cows so actively yesterday, he's still tired. And she says, I'll give you another 5 minutes. So she gives him another 5 minutes, and then he has to get up. So he's had like 10 minutes rest. He's back getting ready for some cowherding. So you see, you get all these pastimes during Krishna's day in the different rasas. In the morning, it's the cows, neutrality, and parental. Cowherd boys, it's friendship. Then in the sort of early evening, then it's the parental devotees eating. Yeah, and then it's with the conjugal devotees. And even during the day he goes and meets Radharani and the gopis at Radhakur, sort of 10 o'clock or so. But then he goes back and joins the cowherd boys. But in the evening, it's just, the night is just the whole night is rasa dancing. And of course, Krishna loves these pastimes in the different rasas. He loves them. But here in the Govardhan Leela, you have all the rasas in one place at one time, all concentrated. Yeah, highly concentrated. So, and it's unique. Pretty much it's unique amongst the pastimes. The only other pastimes where you have the same type of situation is when Krishna is leaving Vrindavan. And then all the devotees are there. And, it's the same type of situation and principle. All the animals are there, then all the cowherd boys are there, and all the parental devotees are there, and the Madhurya, the gopis are there, in one place at one time. And it's particularly intense in the sense of extreme separation. Just extreme separation. So that is it's actually the most dramatic of all the pastimes, Krishna leaving Vrindavan. But the Govardhan Leela, it's very happy. At least once they're under the hill, it's all very happy. It's 1 week, 24 hours a day for a week, having exchanges with Krishna simultaneously. And even, we'll go into more detail about it either tomorrow or the next evening, how Krishna, like the gopis, Radharani and the gopis, normally they cannot look at Krishna at all. You know what life is like. You've got to look at something. You can't look at nothing. So that you don't want to look at the wrong thing. And, like a married man cannot look at a woman other than his wife, out of bounds. And if she says to him, who was that woman you were looking at? You know what the correct answer is? Which woman? Yeah. So we diverge a bit. So but now the gopis can just look at Krishna. Just look at him. Because everybody else is just looking at him. No one is, in the case of the gopis, none of the parental devotees are looking at the gopis. Are you looking at Krishna? They're just too absorbed in looking at Krishna themselves. So therefore the gopis, they can just look at Krishna 24 hours a day for the 7 days and nights. So it is, it's a really amazing pastime actually. It's a very amazing pastime. And in the Krishna book, where Prabhupada describes the rasa dance, there's one place, if you've read it, you'd remember, where what happens? Yes, right. The gopis are looking at Krishna. Krishna is looking at the gopis, and they're looking at Krishna, very intensely, extremely intensely. So intensely, Krishna starts shaking. And it looks like, the hill, he's sort of losing control over the hill. But you remember what happened? Balaram came. And Balaram gave Krishna like the older brother's look. Like, come on, younger brother, what do you think you're doing? And Balaram saw that Krishna has understood. And so, that Balaram has understood. Krishna says, Balaram has understood, that I'm becoming overwhelmed here by the presence of the gopis. So Krishna pulled himself together. Yes, I am holding the hill, of course I am. Yeah, so things like this were happening. All these different types of things were happening. And Krishna's holding the hill. So we'll talk more about that tomorrow. But in this way, it's such a special pastime for Krishna. The rasa dances there, that's also very amazing. And Krishna leaving Vrindavan is there. That's the most sort of devastating and the deepest. But Govardhan Leela, we're talking about very high level pastime, particularly in the sense that Krishna's interacting with all the devotees, all of them actually, in all of the rasas. Literally, they're all there, but at one time. And just from one group to the next group, to another group, and just sort of relishing and savoring all the different types of transcendental tastes. Did I ever, when I was here, did I ever do the demonstration of the sidelong glance? I think she knows. Anyway, let me just, it's all right. The gopis, what they normally do, because when Krishna comes home in the evening from herding the cows, then everyone gathers to greet him and be there when he comes in. And the gopis are there too. But they can't look at him because their parents are looking at them to see if they're looking at him. And it's just, when you're a young lady, you just can't do it. You just cannot do it at all. So their parents are just like, looking at them. Wow, what are you looking at? So they have developed this practice. It's called the sidelong glance. Sidelong means, here is straight ahead. Their parents are sort of straight ahead somewhere around. Krishna's over there on the side. So the sidelong glance means very quickly you have to, your face has to be pointing straight ahead, but your eyes have to go around to the side and back so quickly that your parents don't see that your eyes went, because your head didn't move. Your parents can't see, your eyes went around and came back. Get the idea? Yeah. So we practice this, and I want to do a little demonstration. And you just watch my eyes and see if you can see. Yeah, because we practice these things. So, okay. Now Krishna is somewhere back there, where Mataji is sitting at the back there. Not Krishna, sorry. No, the parents are. The parents are. Yeah. And the gopis are here. Krishna's there, they know they certainly can't look at him like that. Krishna's there, they must look straight ahead or else they're in trouble. So they do quick sidelong glances, like this. So just watch my eyes, right? You got it? Did you see that? You didn't see it. You see? You're too slow. Do you want me to do it again? I'll do it again. Did you see that?
It just looks like you're staring.
You're not fast enough. You're slow. Well, look, I'll be honest with you. I was just joking with you. I was just looking straight at you. But they actually do it, and their parents are just studying them. But they do it so fast the parents don't see. Yes, okay, that's the story of the sidelong glance. Do you think you could do that? You had to practice. Going to be very fast on your feet. Okay, devotees, so, well, let's just go on for another couple of few minutes. So, this I was talking about the background, what's special about the pastime. Particularly what's special is that Krishna is interacting with all his devotees in all the rasas at one time in one place. Now, in terms of the actual Leela, what had happened before? What had happened before? Just bear with me, devotees. But as far as I recall, what had happened was that what had happened before was that there was the pastime of yes. The Brahmins, the Brahmins performing sacrifice, and their wives brought food to Krishna and the cowherd boys. Right. So Krishna had become concerned. That was the same day as the beginning of the Govardhan Leela. Krishna had become concerned that there are these Brahmins and they are, maybe they're Brijbasis or maybe they're just like from Mathura, which is sort of, more or less Brijbasis, but they are not pure Vaishnavas. So Krishna was concerned that there's some corruption going on here in Vrindavan, or at least around, sort of very close to Vrindavan. There's some corruption here amongst people who should be devotees, but actually they're not, because those Brahmins were not devotees. Until maybe the end of that pastime. So Krishna was concerned about this whole thing about demigod worship. Yeah, and Brahminical or just any activity religious which is not purely Vaishnava. So Krishna was concerned, and then he saw Nanda Maharaj, his father, and Nanda Maharaj's associates, the other, older men of the community. They were preparing for some big yajna of some sort. He didn't initially know, but he asked him, and Nanda Maharaj told him. And Nanda Maharaj, we could go into, if we were going to really get into this and do it for like a couple of weeks, we would go into the whole thing about how Krishna preached to Nanda Maharaj, Karuna Mimamsa, that you just do your duty and the result just comes and there you go. That's it. Karuna is God. Or if not exactly God, but Karuna is the main thing, the governing principle, Karuna Mimamsa. And he argues with Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj explains, we're doing this for Lord Indra because he sends rain, and we are farming people, we're cowherds, and we need the rain because the cows need the grass. I mentioned at the beginning. If you've got any background in cows, you know that it's so important, the quality of the grass, that it's what makes the difference between success and failure when it comes to milk production. So Nanda Maharaj was emphasizing that we need the rain because we need the grass, like the best grass. So we need the rain, and where does the rain come? It comes from Lord Indra. And Krishna made certain points there, like that, it rains sort of all over the place from time to time. Sometimes it rains on the ocean. The ocean never did Indra Puja, but the ocean gets lots of rain. And it rains on the mountains sometimes. The mountains never did Indra Puja, but the mountains get rain. So why are you putting so much importance on Lord Indra for being like the source of the rain? So, long story short, Krishna said that, we are not really so dependent on Indra, but who we are dependent on, we are dependent on the cows. That's who we are dependent on, because we are dependent on getting milk. And it all boils down to getting milk for us. So the milk comes from the cows. And the cows, where do they get their best grass from? Govardhan Hill. So we should worship Govardhan Hill. And we should worship the cows, and we should worship Govardhan Hill. And then there's the Brahmins who give like spiritual, religious leadership to us. Or guidance, that sort of thing. We're also dependent on the Brahmins. So we should do Go Puja and Govardhan Puja, and we should worship the Brahmins or feed the Brahmins, worship the Brahmins like that. That's what we should do. So Nanda Maharaj agreed. He agreed. So they changed the Indra Puja into a Govardhan and Go Puja. Yes, so they did. They had accumulated so much stuff. Anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow. But they had accumulated so much foodstuffs. The Indra Puja was essentially an offering of food to Indra. That was the main thing. Massive amounts of food. But they offered it all to Govardhan and the cows, and then fed the Brahmins, and then they fed all living entities. And everyone was happy. Then they went on Govardhan Parikrama after that, just singing the glories of Krishna and just celebrating in great joy. So everyone was happy except for one person. Who was that? That, I'm sorry to say, was Lord Indra. Whew. Anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow. The state of Lord Indra. And he was just so extremely angry that the offering was not done to him. Yeah, extremely angry. So, there you go, devotees, a little introduction to the subject. And we will continue. What time? 6:30. 6:30. We will Poor fellow. It was not a lady either. I can tell mystically. So we will actually start at 6:30. In fact. Okay. So we will start. Ready or not, we will start at 6:30. So please be here. Is that okay?
Yes, Maharaj.
Shri Giri Govardhana Ke. Shri Govardhan Puja Ke. Shri Govardhan Parikrama Ke. Go Premanande.
His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Swami ki.
Jai.
His Holiness Dayananda Swami ki.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Pramanande.
Hare Krishna. So thank you very much. I'm really happy to see such a full temple room for a Monday night. So thank you all for coming. Is everyone looking forward to coming tomorrow?
Yes.
Jai. So we'd like to thank the cooks this evening. Different devotees have taken it in turns to cook this week. So tonight's cooks were Vrinda and Ramai. So let's hear it for the cooks. If any of you were here last year, you may remember that Bhakti Caitanya Swami felt inspired. We were asking, is there anyone who would like to cook for any of the events? And Maharaj said to me on the car on the way home, I'd quite like to cook. He said, I make a good halava. So last year, Maharaj on the Sunday program made halava. And was it nice?
Yeah.
We're saying this maybe to inspire you to cook again. So we're going to serve prasadam now. We will serve prasadam next door, and then you can come and take prasadam in here. We will need some enthusiastic volunteers to help set up prasadam and serve prasadam, and especially we'll need to help to clear up afterwards. I think there's no other announcements other than we will next see you again at 6:30 tomorrow. We'll give you a couple of minutes before we close the curtains if anyone wants to come and take darshan, and then we will close the curtains. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Shri Panchatattva ki,
Jai.
Shri Giridas Govardhan ki,
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Pramanande.